What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 5 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Settra, Great King, the Imperishable, Khemri the Great King of Nehekara, and many more campaign. So as we saw last time, Settra has cast down Manfred von Karstein probably for the last time, as he is now down to a mere 2 settlements, and we have sort of attacked and then immediately peaced out with the Guardians of the Valley, who will be guarding it no longer once we send an army down there, but it's a ways off, I think. We have started to build a lot of our elite and interesting units, Hyro Titans, Scorpions, Necrosphinxes, Necropolis Knights, etc., 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 and our situation is bettering itself with every turn as we keep on making more money, in big part thanks to Hackor, who picked up 2 Skull Islands for us and allowed us to build up a bunch of stuff with those as well. In terms of what we got to do this turn, Panet, I believe, is going to, well, I guess we could start swapping units around. Let's delete at the very least, the Skelly boys here, like so. I do know that we want the Golden Host of Mahrok. I decided ultimately that I think we'll keep the Golden Host of Mahrok with a Panet instead. And, okay, trade off some of these chariots. Now, we do this. Grab the Hyro Titan as well. You're definitely going to need the Tomb Bark, and then we'll have to figure out what else we want. Anyway, as I was saying, the Golden Host of Mahrok, they move considerably slower than the other Nehekara warriors, and I think thus we will keep the regular ones with Hackor, and at least that'll make it a little bit more interesting rather than keeping all the Nehekara warrior unique types with one army, so that's what we'll do. 1 unit of Golden Host per 1 unit of Tomb Scorpions. You can obviously have this Necrotect in your army as well, like so. And that'll allow us to heal the 5 constructs in here. Will we? Okay, well, let me just see what else we have here. Alright, I'm going to delete these skeleton archers as well. We will probably want at least a couple of Tomb Guard, which are being constructed, maybe some artillery in here as well, and we'll see what else we have room for. Now, you're a Lich High Priest, so we don't need an additional caster. We may want a Tomb Prince in here, but at the same time, we may not. I will consider it. Partly just to act as a bodyguard on the one hand, but it's ultimately not crazy useful. Again, I'm just gonna double check. Do they have anything other than the capability of sort of fighting enemies? I mean, they do have Air Command Persevere, but that's pretty much the only thing that you'd want them for. You can always use a construct to fight single entities that appear and go after your main guy, so, I'm sure we'll put some in an army, but I'm not sure which one that's going to be yet. Anyway, 1 Hyro Titan should be sufficient. You will definitely need to build more Tomb Barks, however. That's pretty critical right now, both for this army and for the other army. In fact, just build all the Tomb Barks that you can. And there's probably other stuff that you want to build as well. Now, Panet, you know what we could do? We could have you deliver a couple of things to Mr. Hackor here. He needs a couple things, including an artillery piece, a Tomb Bark, or possibly 2, depending. Yeah, maybe you should stay here until we're ready to do that. So just sit here, channel for a little bit, until you're ready to make your delivery, and then out of here you can go off somewhere. There's a lot of stuff to do. We haven't even made it to Zandri yet, which is kind of interesting. Like, remember in Immortal Empires, the Khemri is right here, and Zandri is basically like right there, like 2 feet away from it. Well, maybe not 2, but it's so close. Whereas it's a pretty big, gigantic difference in Old World. Another testament to the size of the map. But anyway, Panet, I guess you're good for now. King Wakaf, you are ready for some fighting. Let's pop you into miscast base chance or vigor loss reduction. Nah, just regular stance. I don't want the vigor loss reduction for this particular situation. I don't think we should run into too many problems with miscasting either. And, ooh, Valiant Defeat, that's what I like to see. We do have a Giant in here. And I believe it's a, minor settlement with a lot of defensive supplies as well, which should make this interesting. Anyway, before we get started, this is the 5th episode, and thus the first time we lower the engagement threshold, so from now on, 400 likes and 60 comments, and the next episode will be an hour-ish, hour-adjacent, long as well. And of course, keep in mind, it will also determine the length of the campaign and all that, so drop those likes and comments below if you've been enjoying. Anyway, let's enjoy some fighting with Wakaf. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Big old pile of orcs in an enemy settlement. Should be a particularly interesting battle for King Wakaf, as he has his sort of sneaky skirmisher type army with the sepulchral stalkers and all those piles. Horse archers, and thus we can't take advantage of a lot of what they are good at due to the fact that it's a settlement battle. We'll see how well we do. Anyway, the battle will start off with the engaging of these sepulchral stalkers against the orc boar boys. Should definitely go in our favor there, though we are going to get hosed down or pincushioned by the enemy orc error boys, as well as the several enemy towers. We're going to try our best to bring them down with the skeleton horse archers, though it does look like with the HP buffs they have, it is going to take a while. We have no anti-building bonuses, and these things hit pretty damn hard. Wakaf has arrived to lead the sort of central portion of his army. There we go, taking down the first of the boar boys he encounters and starting to work on a nearby enemy chariot. We do have the Eyes of the Desert sepulchral stalkers in the midst of the formation as well. Together with the Toonbark, should be able to take down the enemy's center. And that said, it's not the center we should be as concerned about as the left flank with the explosive tower there. We really need to bring it down as quick as we can. So, I'm going to move on with our sepulchral stalkers, get a nice volley of shotgun blasts into the enemy orc error boys, while we A, form up, and B, allow the Tomb Guard to start moving through the ranks of the sepulchral stalkers. Now that they're starting to close the distance, the stalkers will move forward together with the Tomb Guard and rush the enemy capture location here, or key point, or whatever it's called. Minor supply location. Sure, why not? What's going on down here? Lots of sand going down there, but anyway, things gonna fill up quick. Here we go. I wonder if units can fall down there. Should have tried to charge the unit in this direction just to find out. I'm quite curious. Well, some of their bits can fall down there when they get exploded. That's pretty clear. Well, either way, that unit of orc boys is not having a good time at all as they get torn to shreds by the Tomb Guard and the sepulchral stalkers. That said, it's not going all our way as the Grand Protectors here are having a fairly tough time. And oh, the heck? Restore on the ground. Oh, did I misclick this? Weird. That shouldn't be on you. Huh, I might have misclicked that instead of on these guys. This isn't working on them, is it? It shouldn't work on them because they're not construct. Weird. I don't know what happened there. It might be bugged out, or I might have just missed and something happened. Not that it's super important. Either way, we've got the enemy giant, the biggest threat on the battlefield, having arrived in the center, and the Eyes of the Desert are just going to have to do their best to take care of him with the help of Wakaf's Kopeshes. And with a little bit of help from the arrows of the skeleton horse archers, as well as we've moved a couple of them, or one unit of them, to fire upon the savage giant, though the rest are moving in to support as well. With the capture of the enemy minor settlement, minor key point, minor supply location, there we go, whatever. The explosive tower has fallen, and we've had to move these skeleton horse archers deeper into the enemy settlement. The left and right flank alike are spreading deeper into the enemy settlement. However, the center is still holding, and the enemy is still sending many a unit towards us. Still gotta bring down that giant after all. We will have plenty of our own giant constructs in a relatively short order. In fact, they're already being constructed. And just gonna take a bit of time. But at least we can afford as many as we want since they are effectively free. Just gotta get those capacities. And gonna help out against the piles of boar boys and orc boys and spider riders with a tomb swarm coming down on them. And it looks like the giant is nearly done, down to about 30% of its HP. I imagine the crossfire isn't super pleasant, as we have all of our skeleton horse archers firing at it from 3 different directions. Halberds from our big boys. Spokal Stalkers, that is, and the lethal poison. Oh, wait, who's applying lethal poison? Oh, it's something that the Eyes of the Desert can do. I wonder if we have any other sources of lethal poison other than the Venom Knights of Asaph in the roster. Because I do notice that it also reduces armor. Or not armor, weapon damage. Together with regular poison. And that combined with the Khemri beetles is quite nice. And potentially with Overwhelm from a Necrotect as well. I gotta keep an eye on that. I wonder if we can get a minus... Ooh, if we can get a Warrior Bane, we might be able to get minus close to 100%. Alright, I gotta look into this, because that might be somewhat neat for a particular army composition. For now, though, we gotta keep making our way into the center of the enemy formation, or the enemy settlement. The Spokal Stalkers, specifically the Eyes of the Desert, will lead with some of our Tomb Guard, though pretty much everyone in our army is pretty badly beat up at this point, other than the Skeleton Horse Archers, and, well, I guess even some of them are hurt. We've been having a heck of a fight over on the right flank as well, as we were starting to make our way up the ramp, but several units of Orc Boys, Biggins, and there was another couple of units around here somewhere that are now running, that are holding the high ground against our Tomb Guard and Spokal Stalkers. More power to them, and credit where it's due. Taking a while to break through them. Obviously, it would be faster with the Shabti with Kopeshas, but again, the Spokal Stalkers, they can do it all, and they're a much better unit in my opinion. Alright, well, that fight's going to be happening for a while where our Toonbark is, although our Toonbark is also now pretty damaged, down to about 40-45% of its HP. Squigs have moved on in to help the Orc Boys out, but I believe they were forced into Rampage and got torn to shreds relatively quickly. Our Tomb Guard look pretty tiny compared to the enemy Biggins here, but, well, their small stature belies their stats, because they should be able to outfight the enemy decently well, even if they're designed to hold ground. And we do more damage with the Sword and Board variant of the Tomb Guard than we do with the Halberds. Well, less armor-piercing damage, but not actually all that much. It's just that they have significantly more regular damage as well. And the Tomb Guard variant with the Halberds, I believe, have like a 20 anti-large bonus, which is considerable, though. Such that they're a lot better against Cav and all that. But anyway, it looks like the bounce power shifted to about 80% in our favor. We are still embroiled in the fight here, and I do wonder the degree to which these Spokal Stalkers are getting in the way of the Tomb Guard, but they've been fighting together here quite nicely for quite a while. You gotta love a lengthy brawl. I always get a little bit sad when in vanilla units melt away just incredibly quickly upon making contact with each other. You gotta watch a proper fight after all. And a proper fight it has been, especially thanks to the fact that it's already lasted 8 minutes, and I don't know how many WAs that's been, but it is a fair few WAs from the enemy, which means they periodically get that power up and fight all the harder for that time. And that said, they can't fight forever, as the inexorable advance of the undead will soon put the greenskins below the sands. There we go, lethal poison bleed. Poison, there we go. Gotta love stacking those contact effects. Combine them with a few auras, but anyway. And just exciting for a future army composition, or compositions, depending on how that looks. Anyway, the bounce power 90% in our favor now, and it looks like with that, the last of the enemies are starting to give up. The orcs at the ramp, though they have held for quite a while, have finally broken, and with that, the enemy army will shatter and give the battle to us. And a very, very nice battle at that. I really enjoyed that one. Alrighty, there we go. A very nice battle and close victory. We took a fair bit of a beating, especially to our Tomb Guard, who were trying to hold on. Obviously, these guys aren't buffed out yet, so they lack a significant amount of armor, especially as at 60 armor. It's a little bit low, not quite there yet, but, well, they will be. And solid work out of our Skeleton Horse Archers again. Funnily enough, when previously playing Tomb Kings, I didn't tend to use these guys as much, but they're quite nice. And decently effective at what they do, especially in the early to mid game, so gotta keep that in mind. And otherwise, let's see, at 2, wait. Alright, so it looks like they roughly tie, because depending on kills or damage, but it's the Undying Guard and the Sepulchre Sentinels for the Tomb Guard there, and, did anybody even name any Skeleton Horse Archers? I'm not sure, but it is the, also similarly, the Solid Stone Snakes and the Sneaky Snakes have clearly more or less tied, though the Eyes of the Desert did beat them both. They are a regiment of renown, so that does make sense. Anyway, we are going to occupy the place like so. Lovely, and a skeleton steed for Adaya. Who is Adaya? I have no idea. Oh, the Lich Priest, yes, good. You have the Canopic Jar. We gotta get the Nara's Incantation of Protection, but we do want that replenished troops, and as fast as we possibly can, we gotta get that Justice of Vusirian for that summon a large unit of skeleton warriors. Desperately needed to activate the, that Realm of Souls. Enabled if hit points greater than 50 HP, leadership is higher than 50% of base. Yes. Wait, affects units if unit does not lord a hero hit points less than 25%. Okay, so we need to damage a unit in order to make use of this. Alright, fair enough. It's been a while, so I don't remember exactly how it worked. Mr. Wakhoff. Alright, let's do a balance. We'll do a second point in Elite Cavalrymen, but then we'll do 2 points in Sun-Scorched Bones for the Tomb Guard, and then 2 points in Stone Sentinels for the Sepulchral Stalkers. I think that's the way to go. Was that the only move that we needed to make this round? I think it was, other than potentially Necrotech. No. We'll get the right kind eventually. For now, though, let's take a look at what we got building-wise. Definitely gotta keep pumping up those mortuary sanctums or pyramid things. Crumbling... Actually, not here. We can build up the sepulcher of whatever here, of the heavens. Regnant Catacombs. Why not? And build it up. And hello, Ash Crossing. Most definitely gonna level you up, because that'll mean another level of port, which means more tomb barks and more support units. Black Pyramid of Settra, restore that tomb. Qatari Desert, we will have the... what do we want here? Oh, right, I was wanting a treasure tomb here for the adjacency to everybody nearby, because it hits a lot of provinces from here, whereas here... we don't really need the funerary district. We will pump out the, I guess, mortuary house first, and then here as well. And start with the golden skull, and then just generally level these guys all up. Oh! Oh, wow, these guys are kind of dispersed. Leafcutter's tribe are on the other side of the Dunsali Wood Elves. Huh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder how they got this territory. Who else is part of this territory, out of curiosity? Who's out here? Swords of Change. Alright, so approaching a Tzeentchian faction. I gotta make sure that we haven't actually found them, because if we find them, we need to immediately declare war on them so that they don't screw with our settlements. But yeah, I don't see them as yet. Gonna have to check every frickin' turn. Tzeentch. Annoying. But oh well. Building-wise, I believe we're mostly good. I guess we can upgrade the Obelisk of Judgment here. Why not? And now I believe we're good. Do we need to collect the income here? Public order's kind of meh. We'll probably fight the battle for the Blessed Blade of Tra, or whatever it is. Holy Blade of Tra? Something Blade of Tra. Of Pitra. Where do we have here? It is Blessed Blade of Tra, okay. I do want to fight this. Maybe after wiping Manny out, we'll see. Because who knows how damaged we'll get fighting it. For now, though, we gotta end the turn. Alright, it looks like Wasuran moved away to... oh, wow, you already got 10 units from that raised dead and... you're building the skeleton walls, unfortunately, but what can you do? Settra, proceed closer to them, and Prince Psamtik, stay where you are. You're in a pretty good place right now. We can also immediately build up the salt mine. And we're just mining Manfred's tears. Let's start with the mortuary house, I guess. And then we'll proceed to these guys after. We could risk... we could risk the quest battle right now if we really wanted to. We will take damage, but we are in our own territory. Oh, but then we'd have to leave the Great Dynasty stance, and who knows if we'll be able to get back to it. I guess we can find out. Can we get back to it? We can. We gotta get that blade. The thing is, I was really banking on saving the reward. The control plus 25 to counteract the negative control in, like, everywhere. However, getting the Blessed Blade will give us a +4 control faction-wide permanently. And the longer we wait, the, you know, less advantageous it is. So maybe we should just pop it off. And also help out with the Black Pyramid of Settra and the negative control due to that massive amount of empiric corruption. Really gotta do something about this, but anyway. Oh, I guess we could switch you to Worship of SF while we're at it, though. If nothing else. And also we can build the memorial whatever here. There is also argument to be made for deleting the Grand Ossuaries and replacing them with the other type of growth structure that has the adjacency bonus. And will grow everywhere via adjacency. Alright, well, we'll consider that. Let's see what else we need to do first. Now, you have the Necrosphinx, which has to be delivered, as well as the Screaming Skull Catapult. We still need to deliver one of the... well, an extra Tomb Bark, most likely. That's not quite everything. Could we... I just want to see. How many turns does it take to build a tomb? Is it 6 turns? Yeah, 6 turns. Yeah, okay, but it definitely has to be a delivery. That's gonna take way too long. Alright, now, Necrotech check. Come on. Come on, guys. Why are you screwing me on this? Just gotta get the one that's speedy. So I knew I should have gotten that one when I saw him, but anyway. You are gonna go into healing stance for a turn. Just sit here. I'm gonna get ready to move towards the rats. We can't declare war on them for another turn or two anyway, so there's no need to do anything about that as yet. You can't reach Mendai, so you're going to, I guess... I was about to say raid, but you can't get there and raid either, so I guess you can channel in our own territory heal. Snazdrog and Mendai will fall next turn. Alright, in the meantime, we will build the regnant catacombs and obelisks and whatnot everywhere, and then delete them as needed later on. It's how we start, though. Alright. While we're here, might as well do the rest of the building. Temple of the Sun, you were looking to get your undead quarrymen. And I believe that's it. We will eventually want to get rid of the Grand Ossuary here, but for now I guess it's fine. If we get rid of the Mortiferous Sanctuary as well, we would be able to transfer one of these buildings here and then build another Pyramidion here as well, and still maintain pretty much all the unit recruitment capacity, or types rather, within the entire province. A Mortuary Sanctum for you, yes. A Memorial whatever, Stonemasons. Mortuary Sanctum, yes. You will be upgraded instead of the Mortuary Sanctum. That's why we waited last turn. Perfect. Lower Ash River, we've got, yes, definitely the Graveport. And for now, upgrade the Mortiferous Sanctuary. We'll start with the Sphinx of Fa, I guess, get to the Tier 2 Tower of Bone. And then here, I guess, for now, build the Mortuary House, but you'll be replacing it with the Pyramidion in, like, 4 turns. Anyway, Carrion Nest. I mean, I guess we could build a Tower Bone here for now, in case. Who knows what the rats will do over the next turn or two. And Oasis of Blood. What do we want to build in addition to the Treasure Tomb? Something for which we have limited capacity for, most likely. Probably not worth it to just straight up build a Pyramidion, though. It has 0.6% income from all buildings faction-wide, but then the income from Stonecraft will be wasted here. We probably will have significant Ushabti capacity. I'm thinking we probably won't build too many of these then. Skull repositories. Yeah, let's build that for the additional Screaming Skull catapults. And if we want to later get rid of it, we'll just get rid of it. It's all good. Oh, wow, -9. Huh. Well, it'll be a +3. No, it'll be perfect. Okay, because it'll go to +6, or -6 rather. No, it'll go -3 once we pop into Worship of Asaph, and then with Settra's Blade, it'll go to +1, meaning it'll be fine. Meaning we don't need the obelisk there. So we're good. Alrighty, Settra, let's give this quest thing a shot, shall we? The Blessed Blade of PTRA. Gearhart's Mercenaries. Settra the Imperishable demands a statue be raised in his own image, an effigy of pure magnificence. Naturally, it must be built from only the finest materials and should hold in its colossal hand a recreation of the Blessed Blade of PTRA. Suddenly infuriated by this marble testament to the forgotten glories of his youth, the Eternal Sovereign becomes desirous to wield the white-hot sword of legend once more. As Settra draws near to its reliquary in the Charnel Valley, his scouts report activity. A glory-hunting alliance of dwarfs and men is here in force. The fires of fury are stoked within Settra's withered heart. They dare defile this place. Settra will send a mighty tribute to the realm of souls this day. Teleport. Let's see what the reinforcements are. Oh, we got Slayers and Iron Drakes. Ooh, we're weak against these guys. Ow. These guys are great against chariots. These guys are great against blobs of infantry. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Pyrrhic victory. I can see why, and there is a decent likelihood that there's way more reinforcements than this as well. Nonetheless, we gotta fight it. Settra arrives at the reliquary only to encounter a combined force of humans and dwarfs preparing to desecrate the site and thieve away his sacred blade. For such an affront, their souls are forfeit.
I alone may wield the blessed blade of PTRA, for am I not his right hand? The bringer of the fires of the sun? Today, I offer him a fine tribute indeed. 1,000 souls or more, each an idolater, a heathen, and an enemy of the Hekala. May this please you, mighty PTRA, bringer of the day, for it is the last these unbelievers will ever see!
Alrighty, pretty good speech from Settra, you gotta admit there, and I really liked that, wait, where? Was it through this gate that the camera went through? We went through something, but I liked the way that the camera work happened, leading up to the speech there, or possibly through here. Ooh, I like the big old statues on the sides of the mountain there. Mountain sides, that's the one. Anyway, here we go. We get a big old pile of basically anti-us and dwarfs here, in the combination of Slayers and Iron Drakes being very good against what we've got coming. They got some squigs with them because weirdness. And we got Imperials with a Savage Giant as well. Kind of an interesting combination. Anyway, as usual, Settra will move towards the enemy army himself, crashing that poor line of Imperials, and it looks like the mortars will drop around him as well, which probably ain't so great for those poor swordsmen. Settra will activate that Wrath of Tra once again just to try to get it on cooldown, and start laying in with his halberd as he does. There we go. Moved through, and following him are his charioteers. Fortunately, the Imperial infantry should be extremely susceptible to this sort of thing, in the way that the Slayers and the units of Iron Drakes will not be, so we gotta take advantage of this. And that said, from the Dwarfen army, for some reason, the squigs are moving towards us. On the bright side, the Dwarfen army is quite slow, with only 25 move speed on those Iron Drakes. A little bit of a taste of our medicine, and because of all of the slow-moving units that we've got. But that does mean we get a solid amount of bombardment happening on them from our Casket of Souls. Settra has closed the distance with the enemy giant, and unfortunately I think he's going to have to sit here and not chariot for a while, as we're just going to have him and duel the giant, as there's nobody else there to do it. But it's all good. And, ooh, big old pile of squigs have closed the distance with Settra as well, though I think that might actually work in our favor in the sense that, who else would be absorbing the damage? A and B We can just use that rapid draw again, and ooh, there we go. You gotta love flamethrower units as the Iron Drakes start burninating many a Tomb Guard and doing massive amounts of damage to the Loyal Bones here, and solid damage to the Sons of Horus as well with a single volley. The other ones are going after the line of PTRA, but fortunately it looks to be having enough missile resistance and whatnot to not take as much damage. Although flamethrower units are generally pretty good against the single targets as well, so we do have to be careful and not get complacent. And just gotta make sure they tie them up so that they can't do any more massive damage to our line of infantry. And there we go. And we have closed. The Slayers seem to be trying to go after our Tomb Prince as well as the Tomb Bark here. And we'll have to be careful especially about the Bark, as they would probably be fairly fragile and susceptible to Slayer attacks. Still, they always give a nice sort of focal point for these cinematic shots as they hover over the battlefield. Gotta appreciate that. And a nice contrast between the sort of balefire glow that they have, or soul glow actually would be more appropriate. Balefire is more of a vampire counts thing. Contrasted with the orange mohawks there. And here come the beetles as we pop off a beetle swarm on top of the enemy, or tomb swarm on top of the enemy Slayers. Just gotta try to reduce their numbers quick as we can. In the meantime, Settra's still been fighting that giant, though he's got it down to about 20% HP, which is pretty solid. Again, I find it nice that Settra, despite being on a chariot, and you wouldn't think that he'd be able to do something like fight a giant on it, but he very much can. Though I still fully intend to pop a Necrosphinx into this army just to try to help with such matters. Anyway, ooh, looks like one of our Tomb Barks did in fact get caught by some Slayers, dropping down to about 50% of its HP, and we quickly move a bunch of units, including Settra himself, into its defense, especially now that the giant has shattered. Frankly, it looks like the entirety of all the enemies have at this point shattered, and only the Slayers remain. And here we will oblige them and give them that doom that they so seek. There we go, though, how good of a doom is it really if you kill a bunch of skeletons that will only come back anyway? Again, the oath isn't to kill, the Slayer oath is to die, and, well, they've achieved that in droves pretty clearly, with their Imperial and, for some reason, Squig allies. Alright, and there we go, one last unit of Slayers remaining on the field, and by the looks of it, no reinforcements seem to be making their way to us, so it looks like the Blessed Blade of PTRA is just about ours. Gotta be careful about charging them with the chariots, though. Well, not Settra's chariot, with the regular chariots, as the Slayers with their anti-large can certainly tear those chariots to shreds. In fact, it might be better to just back them off slightly. And get the last kills as needed. There we go, knocking that Slayer away. One last and a very appropriate Wrath of PTRA here. Too bad the Blessed Blade doesn't increase or decrease the cooldown of that ability. That'd be nice. Alrighty, and there we go. Damn, these settlers, these Slayers are taking a long time to bring down. And there we are. Don't tell me there's another unit out there. Or is there one Slayer somewhere? No, there is not. Okay. Oh, those unbreakable units, man. And especially Slayers, they have this weird tendency to sometimes get stuck on 1 HP, like their death blow gets bugged, and then it takes forever to either kill them off or wait it out or something. But all good, didn't happen here. Quest is complete. Alrighty, there we go. Certainly took a little bit of damage on a few units. The Necrotect, a couple of the Tomb Barks got hurt. The Burnination coming out of those Iron Drakes Just a couple volleys. This one managed to get 15,000 damage between the weakness of fire, or against fire, on the Tomb Kings and, well, many undead generally, and the fact that these guys are relatively slow moving means they took a fair bit of hurt. On the bright side, though, we got plenty of work out of the chariots, the title keepers, 23,000 damage, and the one of the unnamed units did well as well. 150 kills and 33 damage on Settra, 33k damage on Settra. Not as good perhaps as previous times where we got like 100k, but still pretty solid. I was really expecting more reinforcements to come in, but it was still a fairly tough fight just due to the units kind of being specifically designed to be good against the types of units that we have. That had to be on purpose, right? So, nice. Anyway, we'll pick the Endless March because, I mean, while we can't heal to full, these guys will heal to full over the end turn anyway, so it'll make no difference. Endless March it is. And Kidnapper for Settra, yeah, fair enough. And Tomb Fleet Taskmaster, hello, use the Endless March. I feel like we use that a lot, and this is the first time I got one of these guys. Well, I like the additional campaign movement range, and there we go. Blessed Blade of PTRA gives us control +2, plus the, where are we here? Plus the set effect also gives us an additional control +2, so +4. And there it is. Nice. Blinded contact effect, not too bad, though it will... for 45 seconds, but it will overwrite the Searing Flame, so the sort of damage over time that Settra gets. Options. Anyway, with the bonus to healing, the Necrotect will mostly heal up as well. I've been kind of tempted to kind of just put him on foot, to be perfectly honest. I don't dislike the idea of a Chariot Lord, and admittedly, applying Overwhelm is good, but he is very, very fragile. Like, shockingly fragile. Thanks to the Chariot, no doubt. Maybe if we can put a couple of defensive items on him when we get them. It'll be a little bit until we have enough of the canopic jars to spare to be able to start crafting things, because 500 per item is very expensive, admittedly. Still good, though. Alright, anyway. We could also spend some canopic jars to unlock a couple of extra heroes, should we desire to do so. Might not be a horrible idea. Especially the Lich Priest, since we lack them significantly. But anyway, I believe that was the only fight that we had to do. We have a couple of level ups here, but they're not consequential, so we'll just ignore them for now. But let's move the heroes around. Senefret, keep going this way. I just want to see about the what's over there. Prince Psamtik, you're fine, and then Princess Scout. The name just amuses me every time. Keep going. Find us some trading partners. And then later, potential subjects. Whether they like it or know it yet or not. You are fine building the tomb barks and all that, and you can probably grab a couple of these additional tomb guard, probably pop them into this army as well. I'm just wondering what we will have space for in this particular force, but we shall see, and I believe that's it, since Panet has to wait here in order to make his delivery. I guess we could make the tomb bark delivery later. Does this give an extra construction time? Local recruitment duration +1 per turn, eh? I wonder what level this is, because this place in theory will have a tomb bark location. Local recruitment duration +1, so it might be 4 turns, but it might be better than waiting here for 3 turns with Panet. He has the other stuff that needs to be delivered, the Hyro Titan, the Necrosphinx, and the Screaming Skull Catapult, and one of the 2 tomb barks that army needs. Of course, it also needs a Necrotech. Yeah, you know what? I like that idea. Let's move now. Pick up this island on the way. Make our delivery. And then go wherever it is we need to go. And go this way, whatever, I don't care. Wait. Oh, you're trying to... No. I want you to go out to sea. You almost screwed me, game. I was trying to sit in the ford there instead of going out to sea, and I don't like that. Alright. Go, Mr. Panet. And I believe we're good to end the turn, unless I'm mistaken, and if I am, it's too late to cry about it now. Wait. Great Incantation of PTRA. Let's get that unique Necrotect hero now. Like so, and have these guys... Oh, they just colonized Qatar, but not with this guy. Oh, actually, yes, with this guy, maybe they had a spare. Well, whatever, we're gonna take it anyway, but we might as well get to this guy on field, and... Oh, I shouldn't have done that. because that counts as a necrotech capacity. Yeah, we're gonna have to unlock another necrotech. We will use you then on Numas instead, I guess, since we're probably moving north with Settra at the very least. Yeah, oh well, what can you do? But don't go over there as yet, just sort of stick around Settra, because we don't want to find Kugathuk because he'll immediately attack us, so we'll wait a bit. Alright, there's a little bit of Lich Priest capacity at least. And recruit the following type of unit. Missile infantry for free 250 canopic jars? Yes, please do that immediately. Almost tempted to use the global recruitment for it. Oh, I guess it's faster to just... Alright, fine, just do it here. We'll delete it. Whatever, I don't care. Cultist of Assyrian, Skeletal Steed for somebody. Let's see what else we've got to get up and running. Now, we will want some Ushabti with Great Bow. We'll want more Necropolis Knights as well. More too. Oh, we need a little more everything. Yeah, we're definitely going to be in need of a second military province just by virtue of the fact that we need more recruitment capacity. So we'll need to get this province up and running fast as we can, as that's going to serve that particular purpose as well. Anyway, we can declare war on you now? No, one more turn. All right, so you just sit there. This army's nearly full. Wow, this is going to be like 3 stacks. I don't know if you can handle 3 stacks by yourself. It's a lot of rats. You can always retreat and allow for Panat to come and help you, I suppose. So yeah, fine. Panat, keep going this way, I guess. Make that delivery. Now, we are... Let's see. As soon as Panat stops moving, I want to see something. So, Mortuary Cult. Before we get Khalida on field, it might be better to get the new dynasty up and running +1 army capacity, because as soon as we confederate her, I imagine there's armies on her side of the map, and they'll take our capacity over where we should be, meaning we will not have additional armies here, and we have a big border with a lot of directions where enemies could strike at us. So, yeah, alright, so that's probably the goal here. We need to get Khalida. But to do that, we will want to unlock, I guess, the Wisdom of the 3rd Dynasty. And then unlock the other one. So in 6 or 7 turns, I think, that's when we confederate her. Probably the best way to do it. Alright, we can ignore the 2 Tomb Princes. We will get these, but for now, let's research the Wisdom of the 3rd Dynasty. Hopefully that's the right choice. Now, where is Mr. Wasoran? You are right here. Unfortunately, I'm willing to bet we can't immediately attack you, because what will happen is... wait. These guys are non-enemies. Actually, this might work in our favor. This might work in our favor indeed. Declare war on Wasoran. And hopefully, there may not be allies, but hopefully they'll help each other and attack us. We're at war with both of them now, right? Yes, good, Ruinous. Anyway, let's do whatever else we need to before attacking here, because it's going to be a big old fight. Hakor, you're... Well, not with you, because you're stuck. Oh, another Necrotect check. What do we have? Nope, another Intelligent. Okay, but we need to thus waste a little bit of resources. Let's unlock a new servant. Like so. Because since we have the PTRA special Necrotect, we have to get capacity in order to mill through the rest of the Necrotect. So goodbye to the intelligent one, and we'll keep looking for the one that will increase our speed. I know I've seen ya. I'm not gonna stop this until we get one. We do have the Lich Priest capacity as well. Now, Wakav, he has a Lich Priest. You, Hakor, are a Lich Priest. We have Panet, which is a Lich Priest, and Rakash, which is not and does need one. But Settra wants one as well. Now, I guess we could do one at the Shrine of the Mighty Flame. Oh, actually, it depends on whether we have what we want here. We do not. Alright. Evasive could be good for Settra as well. Assuming he doesn't know. He has it right here. Meaning we can ignore that. Yeah, we'll just get the healing potion one instead for him. Between the healing potion and the regenerative armor, he should be pretty solid. Let's anyway, let's do the building real quick. City of Kings, easy. Just a memorial nexus, so we can go for these refurbished workshops here as well as the restored tomb. Black Tower of Arcan looking pretty good. And soon we'll delete these in favor of more of these. In fact, it might be better to start on that right now. Delete you to start. And we'll go for the refurbished workshop after. This is going to be a big old money-making province after all. Palace of Dusk, yes to the Pyramidion, yes to the upgrades here. And then you will need a Pyramidion as well, but next turn, so we'll leave you alone. Ash Crossing, you're fine as you are. Upgrade the Tower of Bone, and I guess at least start on the Mortuary House. Alright, Kotari Desert, go for the Brassworks, and the Lower River Mortis, ooh. I guess you can start collecting income thanks to that lovely reward for all that bonus control. Build this, and then build up all the little minor buildings until we're ready to switch to major buildings. Regnant Catacombs here, and we're looking good. Alrighty, now, what do we have at Mende? Decent pile of defenders. I wonder if they'll sally out. We could give them a chance. It does say valiant defeat. I'll give them a chance. If they want to sally out, I'd be more than happy. Let's see. You have elite cavalrymen. I guess we're going for Sun-Scorched Bones next. Got to power up those Tomb Guard at least a little bit, because they're a little bit fragile as yet. You can have Wrath of the Creator. Your Canopic Jars are fine. We can go for increased mobility next, I believe. Like so. And I just want to double check one other thing. I could get one of these guys on field. Temporary. Well, no, we need to mill them every turn, so never mind. I guess we could get one of these guys on field until we get the right kind. Yeah, why not? Oh, I guess we could also mill through them as well. It's a decent option. Now let's get you on field for now. Mr. Wise, and then Canopic Jar Hoarder, and Cleanse Corruption. That'll help us in this particular situation or location. Nothing else will help in the province, right? I don't think so. Let's just grab Specialist. Alright, there we go. You're good to go. You sit there, generate a few extra Canopic Jars for us. In the meantime, I believe we're just about ready to move, other than Psalmtic. You're fine, Kediskaf. Prince Scout. What are we here? I found the Golden Order that don't like us very much because, you know, reasons. And not wanting to trade. Alright, let's go find the elves. Maybe they'll be a little bit more amenable. And oh, we kind of went past them, right? They're in Fosric's Crater. That's where the Flying Fortress is, unless I'm mistaken. Alright, so you're going to have to land here. And the rest of you are fine, minus Senefret, and I don't remember... Oh, right, Senefret. I should really just rename you Scout, too. Hekar and Boogaloo, but let's see. Is this the... I was hoping that there was a town here because there was a crossroad. But alas, it is not. I just need to see one of the towns here. Well, actually, we need to see a lot of towns everywhere there. But anyway, Settra, let's level you up, and it's time to fight once more. Master Charioteer is now maxed out. Ooh, can't wait to get Resurrect. That'll be so helpful with the additional healing. 15% is a fairly decent amount. Necrotect, cause terror and missile resistance, eh? Could get you Conqueror, but frankly, you're so fragile that you need this. We also have Loving Creator, but I don't think we have enough of these units in this particular army to make good use of them anyway. Wait. The Khemrian War Sphinxes are in a different tree than the Necro Sphinx. It's kind of surprising. The Ushabti are together, and the Bone Giant and the Hyro Titan are together. Interesting. Alright, fair enough. This is not helpful, is it? Yeah, let's just go for Ceremonial Bandages. Make him a tiny bit tankier, at least against missile fire, which in this particular battle is not going to be the case, but anyway. You, Settra, go for your Great Dynasty stance, and this should be us attacking 2.5 stacks? Yes, indeed it is. Pyrrhic Victory. This guy still hurts, so we'll have to be careful. This is damaged, but with Soran, you are... I guess it was absolutely the right move to peace out with him for a bunch of cash, because this means that we don't have to skip a cinematic battle. Go. Alrighty, here we go. All is sand indeed, and I'm sure the vampire counts have learned that over the last little while. The Necrarch Brotherhood and the Drakenhof Conclave united against a common foe, and desperate with the last vestiges, the dregs of all their remaining armies in their attempt to stop the advance of the King of Kings, but ultimately I think we know they will end in failure. I'm going to start the battle off by attacking the Necrarch Brotherhood, whose army is already damaged, having taken attrition and due to the lack of units. Or lack of settlements, rather. And we're going to just rush them and mob them. Our Tomb Prince will go after the enemy lord here. I do like that purple barding, though, I gotta say. Oh, down he goes. Oh my lord, okay. Fella lost his head. Well, he lost his head when he chose to stand in the way of Settra. Anyway, the balance of power nearly 100% in our favor, but not to worry. The main forces, the not damaged armies, are the reinforcements. The boon here was the fact that we were able to deal with these guys and force the garrison to come out and play. I also noticed that the Tomb Barks are pretty darn effective at dealing with well, medium and light and medium cav, just not anything elite, but the Tomb Barks can certainly pin them down and handle them, which is great because as long as we keep them with our other chariots, they can handle any, or maybe not any, but handle cavalry threats. It works quite well. Settra, in the meantime, has been bouncing around and looking for critical units like these Cairn Wraiths here, which definitely needed to be destroyed with his magical attacks, as the rest of the army once again lacks it. But fortunately, Settra takes care of those Cairn Wraiths fairly quickly. They're pretty darn fragile when you actually have magical attacks to rely upon. Anyway, there we go. The reinforcements have arrived in big numbers from the looks of it, and I see at least 2 units of Cairn Wraiths milling around in there, so we'll have to deal with them again, probably with Settra. Alright, and unfortunately for us, it looks like the enemy is actually spreading out into a big old front line. I was kind of expecting them to mob up more, or blob up more, whichever. But all good. Settra is once again going to start the battle, getting a little bit of air on at least some of the enemy units, allowing them to blob up once again, and then popping off that ability. Obviously not casting anything else, but well, he's on a chariot. This is what he's supposed to do. Eventually he'll have Skullstorm, but in these situations I don't think I would cast Skullstorm, just because, I don't know. There's got to be a limit to allowing the enemy to blob up around you. And with most lords, I wouldn't do this sort of thing, but, you know, chariot lords are their own, so they have their own sort of play style. There we go, beautiful, right through the entire line of Graveguard, setting them all flying and taking about 30% of their HP, switching up and then moving for another. Settra causing absolute mayhem in the enemy army, and most of them aren't even trying to stop them, understanding that it is absolutely futile. And even if they do manage it, well, we'll just get another Wrath of Ptra going. Alright, how's the rest of the enemy army looking in the meantime? Some of our other chariots are closing the distance to join Settra in the fun as well. The charioteers will look on with jealousy upon that chariot of the gods, but, well, they can still do plenty of good work with their own. How's our stats up at this point? 70 armor, 55 and 48 melee attack and defense. Pretty darn decent, I gotta say. They're still fragile in terms of HP per unit being quite low for chariots, so they can still, you know, explode rather quickly. But nonetheless, more chariot charges as always. There we go, sending more Graveguard flying, including Halberdier Graveguard, who weren't able to brace before they took a charge. And then we'll charge right through them and the zombies alike, and then hit them in the back immediately after. Our Khemri and War Sphinx, as well as the Tomb Bark, were attempting to go after the Black Knights with lances and barding here, and I guess we'll continue while our main line has at last begun to close. A Vampiress of Death has headed towards our Tomb Bark here, but our Tomb Prince is here as well. And yeah, I still can't decide whether I should remove this guy from this army or not. Again, I'm not sure how much he actually adds compared to other units. Like, if we have the... if we have the Necrosphinx, it can do the same thing, but also other things as well. I'm just kind of unimpressed with Tomb Princess's heroes, generally speaking. Yeah, they're strong. They're kind of like White Kings, except in the vampire counts, the White Kings are now a lot better because they summon a unit of Graveguard at level 20. I don't remember what level they have to be, but it makes them a lot nicer. So now they're defensive and hard to kill, but they also provide you an additional unit, which significantly increases their value. Anyway, ooh, nice big charge from Settra into the back line here. Amounts of power has shifted to about already 85-ish% in our favor. Chariots are causing mayhem in the back line as they have separated maybe, I don't know, 20% of the army away here and here from the rest. And are slowly but surely repeatedly cycle charging and destroying them. As Settra has joined the fray, obviously he's starting to provide that aura of his to the nearby units. Unyielding will. And that makes the Tomb Watchers and the other Tomb Guard hit all the harder. Fighting harder with Settra's eyes upon them makes sense. And it looks like the battle is very nearly ours at this point. The Graveguard and Skeleton and Zombie alike are failing to find purchase in the lines of Tomb Guard, and though we are taking damage across the board, maybe somewhere between, I don't know, 20-25% average damage on everybody, it's just not going to be enough. Alright, Settra completely surrounded by piles of Graveguard with Halberds, trying to use his mass to break through. I never remember, in an SFO, does Tamarkan's defeat trait provide additional mass? It'd be really nice if we could get more mass for Settra, but what would be really, really nice is that frickin' Banner of Swiftness been waiting, and we still haven't managed to get one, unfortunately. I fear that, I actually wonder if they can actually drop for the Tomb Kings or not. Maybe we have to rely on stealing one. But, well, as we get more and more armies and encounter more enemies, somebody out there has to have a Banner of Swiftness. We only need the one. Granted, more would be better. But all good. Alright, and it looks like with that, the enemy army is shattered. The last of the enemies begin melting away. Nice little charge from the Necrotect and the War Sphinx into a unit of Graveguard. And Settra has sighted the enemy Necromancer here. Why would you run towards Settra and throw yourself under the wheels of the Chariot of the Gods? The little Necro goes flying, still has a little bit of HP on him, but by the looks of it, not for much longer as Settra moves in and crushes him. There we go, the headbutt from one of the horses tearing the arm off the poor Necromancer and giving the battle to us. Beautiful. Alrighty, there we go. A really nice fight with a massive 4.5k casualties on the enemy side for our 107 Settra, racking up 437 kills and 73,000 damage on his chariot. He could have gotten actually considerably more, but he was busy knocking out those Cairn Wraiths, which we don't really have an easy way to otherwise kill in this army since, well, at the very least the Tombbarks were busy elsewhere and dealing with the Black Knights and all that, so yeah. Anyway, speaking of the chariots, 41,000 damage on Khemri, Drift and 261 kills, 51,000 damage on you, an unnamed chariot. Well done indeed. For the Tombbarks, it looks like the Bone Boat took home the prize. The lineup Traz always doing well, 180 kills, 24,000 damage, and that despite the fact that it was again busy with the Black Knights rather than, you know, sort of mincing infantry as it might want. For the Tomb Guard, it is the loyal Bones who, well, proved their loyalty by stabbing a bunch of other undead in the face. We will take the Endless March, and though a few units might survive, we should be able to... Please don't tell me you're out of range now. No, he's in range, good. So they should both be destroyed. Priest of Petra for... Actually, out of curiosity, can Priest of Petra... I already have one. I was wondering if it could go on a Lord, which it can. And this will auto-resolve it. Really? Medium casualties? I guess we were a little bit damaged, but nonetheless, we'll just... we're good. Yeah, we're good. Occupy. Beautiful, and we take the Shrine of the Mighty Flame at tier 3. We don't need the Royal Barracks here, and we will, I guess, immediately upgrade the Mausoleum. Beautiful. Enemy killed in battle, faction destroyed, Necrarch Brotherhood, and we're, I guess, one turn away from destroying the Drakenhof Conclave as well, who I'm sure we could subjugate. Well, actually, we can't. At least not in this manner. Huh, I wonder, is there a landmark here at the Ashmere? No. What about the Mortistarn? Wait, this is Mortistarn, is it not? No, wait, am I thinking of up here? Yeah, I'm thinking of up here. I wonder if Tomb Kings have a landmark up here. Well, there's clearly none in the mountains here, and I'm disinclined to go after the yellow territory, so hopefully somebody else can claim that for us. We do have a Cathayan faction here. We want Cathayan allies, and by allies I mean subjects. There's a lot of stuff in there. Ooh, they have constructs as well, and I'm willing to bet that their constructs can be healed and buffed up by our necrotechs. Okay, we need to send a scout out there. In fact, you, sir. Alright, now you truly are a scout too, because I think you're going to travel all the way there. Scout 2. Good luck. Find the Cathayans and ally with them. It'll be difficult. I'd rather subjugate them, but, you know, it might take a while to get over there. Although, depending on Khalida, maybe. We shall see. Anyway, Psamtik, stay here. You, Ketaskov, kind of stay near Settra, sort of. I guess you're kind of acting as a scout as well. Actually, no, we should leave you where you are. You're fine until we mill you, and Hakor, no, not Hakor. I would like to see, did I build siege equipment at Mende? Yes, I did. I often forget, so I had to double check. Alright, so that's the building done, I think. I have at least everything critical, minus, oh, right. Here we should, in theory, start building a crumbling temple, but that will leave at least one slot, meaning we could at least start with a mortuary house for growth, and then, you know, delete it later on. As we've been doing, generally speaking. Alright, looks good to me. Skip, and... how much longer? We got 3 turns left of the construction cost reduction. Mostly I wanted it for main settlements anyway, though, so not a huge deal. And our canopic jars are in a good place, so we might want to now save up a little bit of cash in order to pop the new dynasty, and then immediately after pop the confederation, depending on if we can save up the amount of money, but it's looking better and better. End turn. Aha, they will indeed sally out. Valiant defeat casualties high. They got a lot of cav, which, well, and trolls. Yeah, lots of large units, but we got the anti-large of the Spokral Stalkers. They filled that role too, so I think we're good. Go. Alrighty, here we go. More work for Wakaf and my beloved Sepulchral Stalkers. There we go. Vanguard deployed, firing those shotgun blasts into the enemy that we're going to follow up immediately with arrows from our skeleton horse archers and a little bit of a tomb swarm coming down on the enemy. And there we go. A few shotgun blasts, and then we can use our 75 speed to move on back, reposition, and fire again as needed, except possibly with this unit being chased down by the Orc War Boss. Now, the enemy army does have trolls and boar boys aplenty, so we will have to be careful about this. But can do our retreat with our fast units to our blob of Tomb Guard. It isn't too many Tomb Guard, but the enemy here, I believe, lacks a caster, so we're kind of free to just position ourselves in a blocky kind of, in blocky formations for the Tomb Guard, and this way they will all be hit by the 50-meter aura from the Tomb Bark, and thus giving them all an additional 10% ward save, which is pretty nice. Alright, looks like the boar boys and such have arrived, as some of them will crash into the Tomb Guard, but that doesn't really matter. Now that they have no infantry support, our units of Spokal Stalkers will turn and begin to lay into them with those anti-large halberds of theirs. Over on, well, all over the map, we also have our units of Skeleton Horse Archers annoying the enemy as best they can. Does look like one of them will get caught by a unit of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and that lethal poison will do work for them. You do gotta love the Spider Riders for the Orcs. They are extremely good for their cost. And otherwise, the battle is gonna be pretty simple from a tactical perspective. We've moved a lot of our Spokal Stalkers, in fact all of them, into our main line now to hold back the Boar Boys and tear them and the Trolls to shreds, but also prevent them from disrupting the formations of Toonguard. And it looks like together they're holding pretty admirably. Funnily enough, using the formation with the Spokal Stalkers and Toonguard more than Ushabti and Toonguard. At least so far, but we'll have more armies where that came from. Alright, well, the Trolls are very much still in the fight, but they have very poor leadership, so once the enemy's other units start taking casualties, the Trolls will probably be booking it on out of there fairly quick. It does look like at least one unit of Boar Boys, like the enemy Spider Riders and Wolf Raiders, have peeled away from the Spokal Stalkers as they know that they cannot win, but instead have decided to go after the Skeleton Horse Archers, which, with a slow unit of cavalry like the Boar Boys, just isn't gonna work. They give chase for a little while until they take enough damage and then rout. Looks like Wakaf has defeated the enemy lord and taken effectively no damage for it, and has now defeated the Black Orc Big Boss as well, and similarly, no damage done to him. Can't wait until we reach level like 17 or whatever else we need. That'll give Wakaf an extra 20% speed. He really needs it. Since he can't have a mount, he runs as a Footlord, and I'd like him to be able to chase enemies down on occasion. Actually, he could use a Banner of Swiftness as well. And frankly, every Lord on a Sphinx could probably use a Banner of Swiftness. We really need some Banners of Swiftness. Hopefully the stealing of that Screaming Skull catapult did not basically take out all my luck for the rest of the campaign. And we shall see. Well, the luck isn't gone in this battle, at least, as with that, the Orky army will shatter in the Battle of Zaros. We can see a lot of them still had a decent amount of HP remaining, but their leadership being relatively low meant that they booked it on out of there as soon as they took enough damage, or their army suffered enough losses. And we have a lot of fast movers in this army, so we will chase the majority of them down. Alright, there we go, another very nice fight for Wakaf. I've been really enjoying this particular army composition, though I do feel like he's leveling a little bit slow. I mean, I feel like he's been fighting for a while and he's only level 10? Come on, game. I wonder if there's any buildings or something that we can get to increase our Lord experience gain per turn, because the Tomb Kings are really in need of additional levels on their units. Anyway, I mean, we want to auto-resolve, and this is barely anything, so I think we will go for the Bind Souls this time around. And let's hope that we can take it with an auto-resolve, or what remains. How dare you steal our tech? Alright, let's see what we got here. Orcsbane, Arrows of SF, yes, free Canopic Jars, very nice. A Book of Assure if we eliminate a Lord belonging to Dragonov Conclave. I think we can pull that off. Lovely. And we can certainly use that Book of Assure as well. Rest assured. And Custodian, hey, we got one with the Potion of Healing that will pop on to Settra shortly. And just need to... Ooh. A magic power reserve capacity plus 10 isn't bad. And the cooldown for spells is also quite nice as well. Mortuary Cultist, eh? If it wasn't for the fact that I want Settra to have a healing potion, I'd try to wait for a Mortuary Cultist of the Nehekara variety, but it's all good. At least for now. Anyway, Settra, you're gonna move in a second. Let's do an Necrotect check. Another intelligent one, damn. We'll get them eventually. Someday. Someday. Alrighty, anyway, let us have a walk-up take a Mende for us. Auto-resolve. Minimal damage by the looks of it, and occupy, destroying this Orky faction. Yes. Spotted Skulls destroyed. Now, we do have a Imperial faction nearby. They like us well enough, but we certainly can't have them in the necropolis of Xandri. It's disgusting. Meatbags occupying pyramids. We have reached rank 10, which means we can go for, let's see. We could do the SF Goddess of Magic just for the Eyes of the Desert and the Sepulchral Stalkers. It's a fairly significant buff, and the power reserve capacity is nice. On the other hand, +8 to melee defense for Tomb Guard also buffs them up pretty considerably as well. Maybe we'll start with the Tomb Guard? Do they need it more? Then again, the snacks do a little bit more work. And as somebody pointed out in the comments, we can get all of the god worship here in this Lord, so we're free to get all of the ones that we need. Though sadly, nothing, I believe, buffs the Skeleton Horse Archers. Not even SF, weirdly enough. Not Kassar or SF. So, I don't know. Nobody likes Skeleton Horse Archers. Rude. Tremendously rude. Here we need to be able to overcast Narrows, and we constantly cast Joffs, so we need it on cooldown reduction. Here, Necrotect, we will get increased mobility, and that's about all we can do. Alright. Hakor, okay, we'll deal with you in a second. Settra. I imagine this should be auto-resolvable now. Who's this again? Oh, right, Psalmtic. What do we have here? Okay. Go here. We just need to kill this guy, right? In battle, eliminate. I think, considering yeah, but there's no need to fight this auto-resolve. No need at all. Occupy. And enemy killed in battle, Upper Ash River secured, and Drakenhof Conclave destroyed. Free Book of Ashur as well. Beautiful. And we can give it to Settra's new mage as soon as we have him up and running. Almost tempted to grab one like this and then leave the other guy. Oh, wait, we can't. Well, screw you too, game. Okay, then. Okay. I guess we're going northward? Wonder where the other territories belong to these guys are. They have 3. Hopefully it's these ones up here in Arper Mortis River, and not somewhere in the mountains. I do see Skaven corruption there, but I also see it melting away. There's also, of course, the issue of having to deal with the Nurglite plagues as we head on towards Numas, but, well, I don't see how we can escape that. Oh, well. Panet. There's 2 sort of options for what we could do with you. We could try to bait the rats into attacking us instead of attacking them, because this should be a 3-stack location. And that's probably too much for this army until it gets its tomb barks and other things. You do have the Skullstorm available now, which is good, admittedly, and can mince a heck of a lot of rats. In fact, let's get the second level of it. I'd get the Incantation of Desiccation, but we wouldn't be able to cast it anyway, as in we wouldn't have the mana. And what I'm saying is we could have Panet maybe go land here at Carrion Nest and see if these guys attempt to actually move towards him. Certainly an option. Let's do this. First, grab the Remnants of Battle. We'll go for Hall of True Silver this time. Free money, free ensorcelled blades. We will land here near to Carrion Nest. We will declare war, redeclare war on the rats, and it looks like they're building solid units, so can't be underestimating them too much. We will declare war upon you. Now we will ask these guys to join the war against Clan Flem for money. This is Clan Flem, right? Yes. Like so. And then we will see. Will they jump out of the Swamp of Terror? Frankly, I would have loved to subjugate them, but it's not happening. Because then at least somebody would occupy this. But anyway, we'd rather have Elven and Cathayan allies than Skaven allies, I think. Not really all that much that we'd need out of the Skaven roster. I think. But anyway, I digress. Scout 2, go. Oh, this is owned by orcs. Wasn't expecting that. I guess they've destroyed Mahrok, the faction, or at least are working on doing so. Interesting. Prince Scout. And I'm going to laugh every time. I don't know, go around. And go try to find Teclis, please. Psalmtic, you are just going to sit here and... Well, actually, the public order here is in pretty good shape. Oh, wow. Oasis of Blood, public order... Oh, wait, no, it'll fix itself. We do one last skull repository, then we pop into Worship of Asaph, and the place will be good in terms of public order, and we never need to look at it again. Psalmtic, you can stay here for one more turn, but you'll be moving up to this place to get the public order there in a good place, and you can, I guess, go nearby as well. What about you? I mean, we could use you as a scout as well. You know what? Go this way. Actually, we have no diplomatic contact with these guys, so maybe we don't want to go this way. You just sit here until we're ready to give Settra a new Lich Priest. I guess we could do that right now. It'll be a cost of 5 canopic jars per turn. Not that huge of a difference, right? Yeah, I think we're okay. Alright, disband, goodbye. You, Lich Priest, Custodian, a healing potion for Settra, and Canopic Jar Hoarder, and we will want Restless Dead and Narrows, just the spammable stuff, to sit in the main line when Settra's not there, and actually cast things. Speaking of Settra, we grab Reanimate, and who's highest level? I'm gonna say let's buff the Chariots first. That is Dune Rider, which will give us physical resistance, melee attack, and armor for the rather fragile. Well, admittedly, the Tomb Barks aren't fragile, but the regular Chariots are. So yeah, Dune Rider first, and then Resurrect next. It's looking pretty good. You guys will level later, because it's not critical, as I don't believe you have anything of note. Hakor, stay there, see if you can't intercept some enemies. We do have an increased chance of intercepting. And just to double check, do we have an ancillary that does this? We have Banner of the Hidden Dead, which I do have a use for. We're saving those. And, oh wow, basically nothing else. Huh. We should give another Priest of Tra from, like, one of you guys to the Lords, so that you get the extra movement range. Feels like the thing to do. You could be a good option for... Actually, you probably wouldn't want to hold the Brass Cleaver, because you're kind of not in the midst of the fighting. King Wakaf is a better option for it. Let's go with Wakaf, I think. Though admittedly, the extra attack on these guys would be nice as well. I will continue thinking about it until I forget about it. Otherwise, you guys are good, and we're about to end the turn and see what happens as soon as we build the building. So, City of Kings, yes to the refurbished workshop now. Actually, we could probably leave it alone. We are growing, and maybe we can forego building some Pyramidians for a while in order to upgrade Khemri up to tier 5. Pit of Kemsenef, you are going for the next Pyramidian here. And I guess we can delete the Grand Ossuary. I hate to lose the control, but it's the money we need more right now. Well, not the control, the growth, but it's the money we need more right now. You, build, delete, swap to Worship of Construction Reduction, and you can start building a Pyramidian. But it's probably more critical that we upgrade these. You know what you can do? Build a treasure tomb. Oh, no, we build a treasure tomb next turn, so yeah, just ignore it for now. Palace, you know what? Let's build the Pyramidian here first. Like so. Alright. And nearly done. You can be built up. You can be built up. We have you to be upgraded shortly. We have the Upper Ash River. Grand Ossuary. Obelisk. Upgrade. And here we can do nothing because we'll upgrade you next turn. So we'll just go for the worship and then collect income. Beautiful. Alright, 15,000 gold per turn. Nearly there. Yeah, I think I predicted the Confederation stuff pretty well. I said between turn 50 and 60, and I'm saying that by turn 56, we will have Khalida, because we just want Wisdom of the Third Dynasty up and running. I'm gonna be 57 if we go for the tip of the Third Dynasty first. But nearly there either way. I mean, there's other stuff that we want here, but I think this is the priority now, so yeah. Huh, why is our research reduced? We have more territories, and every single one gives us a tiny, tiny bit of research, but I will. Lord Unmoved, unsigned skill points, and I believe we're ready to end the turn. Let's see what the rats do, see if we can't bait them into that fight, shall we? Alright, there we go. So the main stack appears to have disappeared, unless it simply swapped positions with these guys. I'm not entirely sure, but I am kind of interested in finding out. Certainly not exactly as I expected, but it is what it is. You are going to switch to, I guess, Dynasty stance and whatever. We should be able to draw all these guys out, and before we fight, let's get a couple of names in here. So, Shabti, you shall be Wardens of Jet. And you shall be Constructed Criticism. Very nice. And then we'll switch Usirian's... Wow, that is a heck of a long name. You shall be the Dune Dervishes. There we go. They certainly will live up to their name, pretty much always getting all those kills. As for the Casket of Soul, or the Screaming Skull Catapult that we stole, I want a name for this, and leaving it open to suggestions. We will be adding this particular casket to the community canon in order to commemorate the fact that I actually managed to get a steal of an artillery finally. It's probably its story I haven't had too much time to think about, but we got to incorporate the fact that it was stolen at the Black Pyramid. Obviously, you know, actually destroying the Black Pyramid isn't canon, but kind of like the idea of it maybe being former servants of Nagash forced to crew and the Screaming Skull Catapult rather than the skeletons that usually do. Screaming Skull Catapults generally have sort of a tower of skulls on them, which is, and sometimes, you know, the bodies of the Tombs King's foes, and then they put their skulls from there onto the catapult and curse them a bunch of times and then chuck them at people. And maybe somehow incorporate some pieces of the Black Pyramid or something. But anyway, if anybody has ideas for names for it and for stories, as usual, I will combine them into one thing and it'll be added to the canon. Anyway, Vomik, you will draw some rats out. Let's see what we got here. Valiant defeat, casualties high. And, oh wow, look at that. That is... that's a concerning number of Plague Claw catapults. I don't know if you can win this. Good luck. Alrighty, here we go. I genuinely don't know if we can win this, but, well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. On the bright side, we've the Hawk Legion of Settra. They bear the name of the King of Kings, and who else would we be using in such odds to try to get ourselves a victory? Anyway, the enemy's got a small army deployed out here, and we're going to hit it with everything we can to hopefully destroy it before the reinforcements arrive, and prevent the enemy from using this choke point with all of that artillery that they're bringing to bear. Now, I should have turned you off. Oh lord, okay, that's going to hit some of our own units, and yeah, do about 20% damage to our own units. Not good. Not good at all. Hopefully we'll heal up by the time the others arrive. On the bright side, though, the enemy has suffered similar damage, and now that the Nehekara horsemen have looped around by going through the other side of the choke point, they will crash into the back line of the storm vermin. And this army will be, by and large, destroyed. Very nice. Alright, with those guys done, we're going to give chase to the rest of the units, and, alright, my computer will start getting very, very angry as there are going to be so many units on screen, and hopefully it can handle it. And, ooh, big old warp lightning in the center of the formation. Oh, I didn't realize that storm vermin unit was still fighting. I figured it immediately routed upon getting charged by Ushabti and Nehekara warriors and Nehekara horsemen all at once. But all good, because they have now shattered together, or broken together with the rest of the clan rats. It does look like the enemy single entities are still in the fight, but we're completely ignoring them by and large, and we have other things to deal with. Now, the enemy's moving on to the battlefield, and while they have the numbers being on top of each other ain't so great when a Casket of Souls is firing upon you. So we have deployed our casket all the way back here since the start of the battle, together with our Screaming Skull Catapult, with the knowledge and understanding and that we will be firing upon the blobs of rats that arrive on field. And it looks like we're doing pretty okay damage, just gotta keep working on these guys and firing away at as many of these storm vermin as we can. We have also peeled away our Lich Priest, as at this point we have given him enough skill points to have that Skull Storm. And we definitely want to put it to use here, in fact need to put it to use here. Alright, another nice hit to another unit of Storm Vermin. Maybe I should have popped that hit here, but that's what the Skull Storm will be for. We're going to overcast it in the middle of the biggest blob of enemies we can find, and it's going to start tearing through those rats. Going to start losing frames all over the place as the effects go crazy. Alright. And the piles of Plague Claw catapults have long since arrived on the field. We got more coming in as well, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought I saw 7, but whatever. Plenty of them is what I'm getting at. Nice hit with that Skull Storm either way, and then we immediately follow that up with more artillery fire and a Tomb Swarm, and the biggest blob we can find, but there's plenty more rats where that came from. We just need to whittle down their numbers as much as we can. And speaking of whittling down their numbers, the Ushabti with Great Bow are doing their best to hit those Storm Vermin. We saw how much damage the Ushabti with Great Bow were able to do to the Depth Guard when we fought on those islands. And so they should be pretty good at against the Storm Vermin as well. I do enjoy seeing all of those projectiles up in the air from the enemy artillery, even if it isn't a very big threat to us. On the bright side, most of the enemy infantry is heading towards us, and so it is time for the cavalry to start trying to loop around the enemy army. We desperately need them to move on in and attack this. Admittedly, we are still firing away at the artillery with the Casket of Souls and the Screaming Skull Catapult, but they're doing barely anything to them. We need Tomb Giants or something to... Bone Giants, rather, to help against this. And the others are just not fast enough to do the damage. A second Skull Storm hits the blob of rats, actually separating them here with the goal of allowing us to destroy as many of the others as we can before the rest of the reinforcements join them. Time to wade into the fray and hope that the Ushabti and the Nehekar warriors can handle the giant pile of Storm Vermin that still remain on field. The bounce power is still very much in the enemy's favor due to the sheer numbers, trying to dodge the enemy's shots from those Plague Claws with the Dune Dervishes. As with their ethereal, they're resistant to the other rats, but not so much to the magical projectiles of the Plague Claw catapults. Artillery has been firing away this entire time and is now down to about half of their ammunition, but you can see the two have been focusing just these two down, and they're barely damaged. Not great for the shootout, but oh well. That's alright, because we've got other sources of damage. The Nehekar horsemen have arrived at last, the first one crashing directly into the front of the piles of Plague Claw catapults, or the second one looping around and crashing into their back/right flank. Well, depending on which orientation you look at it for on the battlefield. But my point is, most of them are now engaged, and they're having a very bad time with regards to leadership. There we go. We're going to get hit with a seismic snare and a warp quake, but frankly, all the damage that these guys, our horsemen, will take is definitely worth it to get those artillery to stop firing. Otherwise, we're still very much mid-brawl with Storm Vermin, Clan Rats, and Plague Monks fighting the Hekara warriors all over the battlefield. And of course, a little bit of help from the Ushabti. We do have more enemy reinforcements arriving with every enemy unit that makes their way off the battlefield, and ideally we also want to technically chase down at least some units to make sure that more of them die, otherwise we'll just have to fight it again if too much of the garrison survives. I guess we'll just have to see. On the bright side, we are still holding, and the balance of power has at last, for the first time in the battle, 7 minutes in, shifted in our favor to about 55%. It does look at the very least like we are mincing the Clan Rats with gusto very rapidly, and frankly the Plague Monks as well, though I'm sure they're dishing out decent amounts of damage to us. 3,000, nothing crazy though. Although I don't know how many of these Plague Monks actually managed to close the distance when they traveled through that Skull Storm, so who knows. Alright. And how are we doing back here? We've got one of our units, in fact 2 of our units of the Nehekara Horsemen pretty much destroyed. We got more reinforcements arriving on the field, and we had to close the distance with those Warp Lightning catapults who are wavering. But unfortunately, as these Nehekara Horsemen are beginning to melt, we're probably going to have to just send them off screen. The other 2 Nehekara Horsemen are either chasing down Plague Claw catapults or engaging new ones, bouncing between them to make sure that they cannot fire. Alright, speaking of firing, our Casket of Souls has been added for the entire battle and is up to over 500 kills, which is pretty darn solid. I'm surprised that the enemy didn't try to send more units at it, but they did attempt to get the Assassin Lord and one of the Chieftains, these guys, to go towards it, but that's why we had the Hawk Legion here and the other Hawk Legion here. Hawk Legion being faster in terms of moving than the other units, which is why we kept them there. And of course the Ushabti, very much needed on the front lines against the piles of storm vermin, of which there have been very many in this battle. Anyway, the balance of power is at about 60% in our favor now. But the battle is surprisingly, perhaps, as yet continuing. Gonna get one more Skull Storm off just to try to get those crews of artillery away. This is a non-overcast one, mostly because it's barely hitting anybody. But we had to get it off. And also, I don't think we had the bonnet to overcast it anyway, so gotta work with what you got. And it looks like the last of the enemy reinforcements, another unit of Plague Claw catapults, has made its way onto the battlefield. Gonna attempt to charge through a unit of Gutter Runner Slingers. And get netted down, of course, for our trouble, but close the distance with that last Plague Claw catapult. Alright, and we're gonna make it bleed as we activate Jeff's incantation of Cursed Blades on this unit to try to speed their way through the artillery crew. Although the artillery pieces themselves, I think, were slowing us down, it looks like it won't matter much, as it looks like the last of the enemies are beginning to at last rout. And there we go. Looks like we do manage to pull it off. A heck of a fight. Definitely a distributed one as we fought all over the battlefield, but the key aspect of winning the choke point and not allowing the enemy to make use of it definitely gave the battle to us, especially since our artillery were able to fire at the approaching enemies for the entirety of the battle as they moved this way. And by being protected by the choke point and river, weren't in danger from too much other than the enemy's single entities. A very, very fun fight, and great job to Hakor. Oh, good lord, that was an obscene number of Plague Claw catapults, storm vermin, and single entities. Really couldn't do anything about the enemy single entities at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lords and heroes, as we were horrifically outnumbered to the point that we just had to do our best to ignore them. And the enemy also had, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units of storm vermin, a couple units of plague monks, and lots of plague claws and all that. Heck of a fight. Well done, Hakor. And the Skull Storm did very much indeed come in handy here. 770 kills and 87,000 damage. And just by dropping a couple of those sandstorms in a couple of ratty blobs. And let's see the damage. 28k, 29k nearly on the Dune Dervishes. And we've got, this Hawk Legion, oh right, I think it was busy trying to keep away one of the assassins to protect one of the artillery pieces. Other Hawk Legions, 26k, 20k on one of the Nehekara warriors, 22 and 17 on the others, 21 and 28 on the Wardens of Jet and Constructed Criticism, and 69, nearly 7k, 1,000 on the Casket of Souls. That should hardly be of any surprise. And our precious Screaming Skull Catapult did decently well as well. Now, I'd love to take the money, but it actually isn't all that much, and we really need to heal up here. Let's see, how far are you going to move away from that? What the heck? Did he just cross the water? You shouldn't be able to do that. How dare you? Okay, this guy went over here, but this isn't land, right? This is water. How did you do that? Weird. Very weird. What can you do? And hello. Oh, Burning Book of Corn. Yeah, we're not going to be using the Book of Corn because that would be silly. And not for this faction anyway. For another faction, perhaps. You have leveled up, and we'll need whatever point, I'm sure, to fight this battle. We have max points in Sun-Scorched Bones, which does make sense here. We could start moving through Elite Cavalrymen. Frankly, I want to put the Storm Riders of Xar into this army as well. Let's go for Elite Cavalrymen then. And the faster we get Resurrect, the better as well. Anyway, I guess you've no choice but to besiege Swamp of Taha. You're gonna run away. Well, that works for me. And what level is this place? Tier 4. Okay, so not Tier 5. Now, thanks to them all running away, we can auto-resolve what remains here. Hopefully the damage isn't too severe. That's okay. They'll probably besiege us immediately, but we should be fine. And I guess we're just going to occupy it at Tier 3. Alright. There we go, you're just gonna sit there. I imagine they'll besiege, but it shouldn't be a problem. That also means you're free to... Watch them jump out and go to Carrion Nest. You know what, go here, near to Carrion. Well, actually, they wouldn't be able to take it anyway because it's decently well defended now. You guys have to meet up briefly. And frankly, once the army is complete, we might actually just send you down the river. Slothmire has been taken by the Defenders of the Great Plant. Man, the Kai is doing a good job. I mean, look at this. He starts here. He's doing real well. Strength rank 12. Very nice. And Spirit of the Jungle still alive. Longest I've seen Nakai around. I'd love to ally with him, but again, he's taking territories that shouldn't belong to him. Not that we care about Slothmire, mind you. Anyway, what I was saying is we gotta get to the Wreck of the Desolation and grab it because it's our book here, and we gotta get to Xandri, partly for that Pyramid of Amenemhetem, but also partly because... Ooh, more +1 hero capacity, good. But also because, well, it's important to get there and get close to the book, and just generally speaking. Anyway, Swamp of Terror. Keep the Royal Barracks for one turn, just for the additional troops in case the rats attack. If you suffer attrition, nobody will die. I was wondering if they will die if the enemy, if the rats went to moving towards us, besieged us. What do we want to build here? It's a red territory with a massive increase to construction costs and construction time. I guess either way we'll swap into Worship of Construction Reduction. That's not changing. And we'll most likely just use it for... I was gonna say capacities, but it's not like we can... Well, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure there will be something useful to build. Could build a skeletal garrison here. It's probably a place that's never going to generate money. Control -3 and all that. We would have the garrisons of the elite buildings should we build them here, but for an insane cost. Yeah, we're definitely going to leave this one to later, so may as well just use it to defend the place. So go for the skeletal garrison. I guess we'll build it up next turn. Alright, good, looking good. Looking very, very good. Now, Settra, lose one of your skelly spears. You don't need them. And you'll get the mage here. You need to heal a little bit more. You do, but you also want to get as close to the Valley of whatever as you can. So replenish troops, and at last you have a mage. Actually, now I'm thinking maybe we should lose the second Tomb Prince. At 4... They're not valuable enough in the Tomb King's roster to bother with. And oh, what's that for attrition here? Huh. Well, that's just rude. How much attrition, just out of curiosity? Guess we could raid while doing so, and a fair bit. Okay, so no dice on that. Oh, don't tell me you're... Did you just get in Settra's way? Settra, run him down. You go here. There we go. You guys stay. The longer we don't have any contact with Kugath, the better. Then... King Wakaf. Do we want to stay here in case the rats attack us? This was their last territory, so in theory they should destroy themselves attacking the Swamp of Terror. In theory. I'm just gonna hope that they do. So, Wakaf, you are going to switch to Channeling Stance and move to the Tombs of the Bitter Wind. And we're making our way up the river to the Fleet Port of Terror, after all. Great Statue of Dejaf, we will be ignoring you, because you're too close to those ancients. Otherwise, fear that the Cult of Moor will take us close to them as well. We're also rather far from these guys, so we're gonna need to deal with it. Just deal with it. Otherwise, Prince Scout. Go find the elves. Prince Psamtik, go and sit where you are. Scout 2, go find the Cathans, and hey, Mahrak is still alive, okay. All good for them. Alright, we got 12 type of... Ah, yeah, we don't have a... we don't have any kind of landmark at Mahrak. Interesting. That's kind of surprising. No landmarks here at all? Well, there should be one at Lamia. What do we have here? I guess we'll figure it out once we have confederated Khalida. Rakash, you're next. Oh, right, you were recruiting a million things. So you built those skeleton archers, so you're good. You should not be not recruiting, if that makes any sense. Definitely grab a Screaming Skull Catapult, but not two, because we need one to go into that other army. You can can build one more Tomb Bark. Maybe get a couple of Sepulchral Stalkers. We can't really take anything out of your army except the Carrion, but they've been around with us for a while, and I don't want to lose them. Alright, you know what? I think, though it's costly, we're going to get our next army capacity up and running. I like so. So that you can transfer some stuff and then keep recruiting. Then... oh, right. Wait. I screwed up slightly. This army with the Scorpions was supposed to be commanded by... this guy with treacherous... oh, there's two treacherous ones now. I guess you can swap the units and then switch back. It's kind of annoying, but... alright, fine, fair enough. You're gonna have to sail back down the river. It's alright, it's all good. Treacherous guy at rank 5, then. Just out of curiosity, what do we have here? Nothing crazy interesting or anything of that line? Go. Good. Skeletal Steed to start, and I guess we will... hello, what do we have here? Oh, rank 10. Armor when defending. Will we... I mean, I guess on occasion we will be defending. I'm gonna hold off on this. Hit points makes you stronger on the War Sphinx, but for now you're gonna go for the Jar Hoarder. Oh, probably... you know what? 2 points in Jar Hoarder. 1 point in Passage of the Soul Realm for the free unit XP. And what I want you to do is take these units so Mr. Guy that's recruiting here can continue recruiting with all of his slots, because there's a lot of stuff we need. Get some more Tomb Guard up and running. Get a couple of Necropolis Knights. Alright, looking good. And they'll be swapped to the various armies, and we'll send them to the various corners. We need one down here to deal with the greenskins, probably one down to and deal with these guys, since Settra's going to be busy with Kugath up here. We'll probably need another one to move directly north against both Nakai and the Ogres. I'm just going to hope that, well, assuming one army goes this way and then tries to defend this territory, one army will need to go this way as well. So that's why I don't want to confederate Khalida until we do, but like I said, it should be happening next episode. Since we've... oh wow, 75,000 gold. We'll get there, Well, there goes all our building money. But it's worth it, I think. Mende, let's go for the mausoleum, please. We cannot build anything there, unfortunately. We can build these here, though, at least temporarily. They're cheap, if nothing else. You can build a crumbling temple. And then you can pop in the Undead Quarrymen as well. Necropolis of Qatar, you can build the Mortuary Sanctum, Upper Ash River, we've got the upgrade here, and that's basically all the cash we've got to play with. I guess we could build the tier 1 here. And we can't build the pyramid thing here. Can upgrade you for 240 and you for 240, and that's about it. Okay, well, good enough. We still have enough canopic jars both to do any event that comes up and to confederate Khalida as soon as we feel like it. So as soon as we unlock the wisdom of the 3rd dynasty and get another army capacity. And then probably awaken Thutep as well, who's the Sphinx guy. Which will be nice. We'll give him some Sphinxes, and then out of Numas we can build the Sphinx Legion of Numas as well. Ooh, growth for all provinces too. Yes, good. And the Glorious Charge for the Chariots will be nice. I believe we're good to end the turn, yes? Everybody's moved? I think so. Let's end the turn, see what the rats do again. What do we have here? Put it to rest. Sphinx destroy plus 20 melee attack for melee infantry and minus 5 melee attack and minus 5 melee defense for monsters. Huh. It's a big pile of infantry bonuses. Versus a loss of melee defense for the melee infantry, but a gain of plus 10 for the monsters. I feel like we have more infantry being used right now than than monsters. So while this is nice, I think I'd rather go for the bonus to the infantry. It's only for 5 turns either way. Let's give us a read. One of our Lich Priests has dared approach with concerns that one of the Necrosphinxes is no longer under the control of our warriors' souls, but instead is in thrall to Usekf, the destructive god buried beneath the sands. Dare we destroy it and risk his unending wrath? Put it to rest. Usekf, you say we cannot allow those gods shunned by our ancestors a new foothold on our sands. Order the Necrosphinx back underground to be with its dusty patron. Put it to rest. Alright. Besiege, Swamp of Terror. So you did cross the wall. Yeah, okay, whatever. Kill this. Auto-resolve it. And then he... actually, it's barely any healing. Take the money. Alright. Master Mason, I assume you can't reach this guy now? Or can you? It's kind of unclear. Where's the other one? Okay, can you reach this guy? They might be willing to just be destroyed because the faction is dead, so let's see if we can't just land and kill them. Yes, alright, so you're gonna die. And, oh, why did I auto-resolve it? Now you're still... Hello, Briar Sheath. Woodsman, Unspottable, Stalk, and Snipe. Okay, that's actually good. I'm glad we came here. You, Hakor. You should be able to kill this guy, right? I'm gonna hope so. Go kill this guy. Auto-resolve. Right, this guy actually died, unlike the other guy. Growth income. I wish it had public order instead. Bind souls, just because we're going to suffer attrition unless we can return to our settlement, which actually we can. Okay, this location feels weird to move around, and I can't tell where we're crossing land and where we're crossing water. Oh, there's a land bridge here. Okay, it's just you can't see the land bridge. This is water. Oh, this is all land bridge. Well, screw me. That's, well, I wish I had known that earlier. Would have done this a little bit differently, but hey, it all worked out at the end. Anyway, Settra, you. Again, from the top, you're gonna go into raiding stance because you can't do anything about it. And it's gonna be a while, but we're gonna need to decorruptify the place. Oh, Somtic, wait, what's the public order here? That's actually fine. We can go here. Actually, wait, I should have not done that. We should do that next turn, because you can still get the bonus public order here, or at least get use out of it. Scouts! You like to scout things, I hear. Alright, so we should have found the elves now, yes? The diplomacy, and quick deal, and trading agreements. Ah, there we go. Order of Lore Masters. Minus 100 becomes vassal. Okay, so that's no dice as yet, but 4,000 golden money for trading? I'll take it. Certainly. Cult of Moor is about to die. Mahrak, we will... You know, it's going to be a while until we're down there, but at the end of the day, maybe we shouldn't risk allying with them. Guardians of the Valley, kind of the same situation. I'd love to trade with you, but you can't be confederated. Admittedly, there are no... well, no, we need Qatar, so... Yeah, no dice. No, well... I'm just not going to be friends with them. Who are backbreakers? Ogre Kingdoms. They are at war with Cult of Sigmar. Okay, well, let them do their thing. Cult of Moor were about to attack. They're currently fighting Xandri. Xandri's still around. Oh, wow, good for Xandri. I guess we can't ally with any of these guys then. Which, again, Settra, only subjects or just direct conquest. Makes sense to me. What are we up to? 16,000 gold per turn, yes. And walk off. I guess you could besiege Temple of the Bitter Wind to see if they come out and play.
Greetings on behalf of the Empire. Now what brings you here with a sheathed blade?
Yeah, hush. Declare war. Alright, just endless conquest. Go. And into Great Dynasties, I guess. Besiege it. Oh, yeah, they're gonna come out and play next turn. Oh, wow, we might actually have to back off for one turn. I figure if all 3 of these armies move towards us, it might be a little bit much for this army. It's not, because it's a skirmisher army, it's not really designed for fighting so many armies at once. Too bad we don't have siege attacker in this army. I'm again thinking that maybe it might be worth it to swap something out and put a monster in. Or possibly an artillery piece. We shall see. For now, though, 4 turns to build the 2. Okay, yeah, you know, I'm not doing that. Just sit there, then. And there isn't too much else to do other than build buildings. So the Cracked Lands, yes to the Mortuary Sanctum, yes to the Memorial Masons, yes to you, and I guess we gotta wait the turn to upgrade the Mausoleum here. Alright, fine, fair enough. Necropolis, yes to the Crumbling Temple, and time to get rid of the Public Order building and replace it with the Stone building instead. Lower Ash River, upgrade. Upgrade, and here we can build a Pyramidion anywhere we want. Lovely, and then upgrade all of these until we're ready to delete them, just so that we don't have to look at them, and they will pay for themselves anyway, so it hardly matters. Swamp of Terror, I forgot about you. I guess we will indeed build it. Wait, did this increase in cost? Huh, maybe it decreased and I didn't notice, but anyway. We just build this so that this place is nice and defensible. Otherwise, we're probably not going to make any real use of the settlement, but as long as it's not infested with rats, I think that's a win in my book.
Greatness comes. I should take your advice.
Recruitment. Got some water stuck in my throat. You will want to recruit another thing. Get another Ushabti going. We should just, you know, get the Tomb Bark at least going on cooldown. There we go. Actually, we need more of, like, basic units like Tomb Guard, but at least the Tomb Barks, because they'll be supporting many an army. Anyway, I believe we're ready to end the turn, so skip, and turn. Alrighty, looks like they will indeed attack us. Oh, they have a Lichbone Pennant. That's nice. And they will attack us with 3 armies. Can you pull up 3 armies? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not entirely sure. We'll give it a try, but because this is a quick-moving army, it can probably back off if it needs to. So, here we go, fighting again. Alrighty, here we go, a second battle that I am not sure that we can win. This is a heck of an episode with dangerous fights, and I'm having a blast here today. Probably why the episode's going long, but anyway, here we go. They're gonna start the battle off with trying to knock out those war wagons. They are such a freaking dangerous unit. They already have 8 kills, 3.6k damage, and they have knocked out 3 of our Sepulchral Stalkers. I think that's a 4th. And that's why this unit has to go immediately at all costs. They are so great at sniping monsters, monstrous infantry, lords, things like the Tomb Bark. Can't be having that. Other than that, though, this little enemy army is deployed by the looks of it, waiting for reinforcements on this side. Now, I see that the reinforcements are appearing on 2 separate sides of the map, so ideally, we'll try to do as much damage as physically possible to this first army before the reinforcements arrive, then destroy the second reinforcements before the third reinforcements come on in. Will that plan survive contact with the enemy? Well, let's find out. So, we move forward and set up our Sepulchral Stalkers to do as much shotgun damage as they can to whatever enemies they can fire at, and the Mounted Yeomen will charge the Sepulchral Stalkers, but I mean, they're not knights, and there's certainly not a major threat to the Stalkers there. And their halberds will tear them to shreds, but I suppose sacrificing your peasants by, you know, sending them at these units and preventing them from firing is probably a pretty good use of peasants, or at the very least, the Bretonnians would think so. And there we go. Now about half of our Sepulchral Stalkers are engaged, while the other half are firing their ranged weapons in the Tomb Guard approach. Now, that said, this first army is in pretty darn bad shape, with most of the enemy units routing just in time, as the second armies, well, technically second and third, have finally both arrived. Alright, I'm going to try to move forward and press the second army, as the third one is going to take a fair bit of time to approach this direction. But we've got a heck of a fight ahead of us. Getting a few shots on the enemy Huntsman General, who could potentially be going after our units of Sepulchral Stalkers, as he'll have decent Alpha Strike damage. Or just Alpha, whatever. So we're going to try to dish out a bit of damage to him, but probably don't have enough time to do so as the great swords, the halberdiers, and the other Imperial units have arrived. All good, time for a bit of an infantry clash as our Tomb Guard move to hold the line, though the armor piercing of the great swords will probably mean that the great swords are going to be in better shape in this particular melee, and that's only if they're here alone, and it's only in a vacuum as the Tomb Bark arrives to support and debuff the great swords and the Spokal Stalkers charge on through them. And very nice. Alright, we got a major front line here in sort of a half-moon formation, but if the enemy is going to be engaged, we're going to take the opportunity to move at least a couple of our Spokal Stalkers and Skeleton Horse Archers to flank the enemy and start working on the range units. Now, hard to say whether it's more efficient or better to just shotgun all the archers, crossbows, huntsmen, whatever the enemy has here, or just wait into melee. If we have a shootout, the enemy will be able to fire back, but I think they do a little bit more damage like this. Hard to say what's more effective. If the enemy had more of these units, it would have been better to charge, as more of them would have been just walking or running away. But like here, and if they're only attempting to fire back at the Spokal Stalkers, maybe it's better to have the shootout. Anyway. While that's happening and while we work on trashing the enemy's back line, the main lines are continuing in their clash. Alright, and tactically, not much to say about that as yet, or at least until the other reinforcements arrive. We've got some more Wardens of the West Mounted Yeomen trying to catch our units of Skeleton Horse Archers, and a unit of Empire Knights actually fleeing as they were defeated by the Sneaky Snakes units of Spokal Stalkers. That said, the enemy does have a much stronger unit, the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Again, gotta remember that our units are largely vulnerable to fire damage, and that's what these guys have, plus a massive charge bonus. I think the biggest charge bonus of the Empire Knight sort of types. And, oh right, I had a quick pause in the middle of the battle here as I had to go get the door. Hence the frame drop around 5 minutes. All good though, looks like the battle continues, and a heck of a big fight here, man. We're getting some amazing fights in this desert. I really like starting in the desert, I gotta say. Gotta play more factions down here. All these visible battles, even in, well, I wouldn't say a dark battle, but, or not a night battle, or not quite. You can see everything that's going on all over the place, and that's just fantastic. Anyway, our cavalry are still engaged in their duel. The Wardens of the West trying to, and effectively, by the looks of it, catch some of our Skeleton Horse Archers, but they're still being protected by at least some of our Spokal Stalkers. And speaking of, another unit of Spokal Stalkers has met the Knights of the Blazing Sun and is engaging them in a nice little, I'd say duel, but the enemy's getting a little bit of support from this unit of crossbows at 204 range. Pretty solid, too. Alright, well, our Spokal Stalkers will take damage, but it looks like the Knights of the Blazing Sun, being a shock cavalry type unit, are the worse for wear. As we should be able to carry the day. The bounce power has shifted to about 70% in our favor, and I just want to point out we still have not activated even the first level of the Realm of Souls, though clearly the damage is there on a lot of our units. In fact, one of the Tomb Guard was melting away and still wavering. But what can you do? The enemy are melting away in a much more rapid fashion. And the Snakes are doing great work this time around. They charge into the Third Army's reinforcing backline, as they had 1 or 2 units of handgunners and a bunch of crossbows, and we just simply charged them so that they couldn't fire, rather than having that shootout with them, especially since there were handgunners there, and we didn't want that armor-piercing damage hitting our Spokal Stalkers. Looks like the Knights of the Blazing Sun have been defeated. Or that's not them. They ran away somewhere. But they've been defeated by the Spokal Stalkers. There we go. And it looks like they flee, and perhaps seeing the famed Order of the Knights of the Blazing Sun run from a bunch of necro serpents, the rest of the army decides that they cannot win this, and they give up. The battle is ours. It was long and hard fought, but damn was it a good one. Definitely one of my favorites of the campaign so far. You really need speed, buddy. Hey, we got the Lichbone Pennant. That's exactly what I wanted, and I think that's going to go in Settra's army because it needs magical damage, and maybe we'll give it to, well, probably the Tomb Guard, but anyway, it's going to be really helpful. Otherwise, another really nice battle for Walkoff. The enemy were unable to pressure us enough with their numbers, thanks to the sort of distributed deployment that the battle map forced upon them, and where the reinforcements arrived. Really could have used a Skullstorm in that particular battle. Alas, while we didn't have one, it's just fine without. I guess we'll still need to deal with this, and there may be another army around, so we have no choice but to bind souls and heal up as much as we can, even if it really ain't much, but gotta get what you can get. Yeah. And what the heck is this? Ha! They come in with another force, and oh, what about if we do this? Nope. What about if we do this? Nope, wait. Sometimes, depending on where you do this... Damn it. Nope. Alright, I don't think that's gonna fly. This, I think we don't really have enough time to fight this again, and there isn't any real need to... Wait, do you have magical damage? You have magical damage anyway, which is why it was pointless to do that, wasn't it? Come on, Ruinous. What are you doing, man? Alright, fine. We'll do this quick fight as well, I suppose. I don't think it'll be a problem either way. Alrighty, here we go. I certainly was not expecting around 2 with these particular armies, but hey, the Cult of Moor had more units, more armies where that came from, so I guess we'll just have to deal with it anyway. And the battle starts, and we gotta remember that we are still damaged, at least somewhat, from the other fight, so I do have to be at least somewhat careful here. Now, since the last fight, we decided, or we played this particular army with more of a sort of basic front line type of deal. This time, we're going to do a little bit more of what this army was designed to do, which is that sort of divide and conquer and bait the enemy units type situation. So, the idea is once again to use these skeleton horse archers to bait the enemies into the vocal stalkers, though the enemy, or the AI rather, is just fan-frickin-tastic at disengaging rather than having their units stopped and forcibly engaged. Not to worry though, while they did manage to at least charge our unit of skeleton horse archers, and the sepulchral stalkers did eventually catch them and obliterate those mounted yeomen. Fortunately, or unfortunately, the enemy's got plenty more cav where that came from. 2 more Wardens of the West are heading towards these skeleton archers. And we're going to move these sepulchral stalkers in to try to do the exact same thing that we did to the first unit. We've got more units bringing up the rear, Knights of the Blazing Sun and more Wardens of the West, and we got 3 more units of sepulchral stalkers here shadowing them, and frankly shadowing the entire army on the other side of the Tomb Guard, as these guys were deployed here in the vanguard corner, sort of. The idea here is that, just like we saw last battle, war wagons are devastatingly effective against sepulchral stalkers and quickly, kill off models, and we can't have that. So, as soon as the armies engage, we're going to make sure to use these hidden stalking sepulchral stalkers to chase down and obliterate those darn units of war wagons. And that way, hopefully, a minimal amount of the snakes die. Plus, like I said, this whole divide and conquer thing that we were supposed to do but didn't do last battle. But hey, it worked out. Gotta adapt the strategy and all that. Anyway, Wardens of the West heading towards us first, interestingly enough, leading as the Vanguard rather than the Knights of the Blazing Sun, which is probably a good move on the enemy's part because, well, the Wardens of the West are significantly less threatening, and it allows them to engage our Sepulchral Stalkers and then the Blazing Sun Knights to take advantage of their charge and do a little bit more damage. But what can you do? Alright, and ooh, starting to take a bit of hurt from all the enemy range units firing away at these Sepulchral Stalkers, so we're probably going to have to back off. The enemy's war wagons have arrived as well, and it's time for our 3 units of Sepulchral Stalkers that have been shadowing them to close the distance at last. Now, the enemy has brought a bunch of halberdiers to protect the war wagons, but fortunately it looks like we're fast enough to simply get around them and head for the wagons anyway. Alrighty, tear them apart as quickly as you can. They're little snakes, as they will start doing massive damage to you, even in close quarters like this if you're not careful. Otherwise, it looks like the portion of the battle where our cavalry are having their war is going very much in our favor. And in the meantime, our Tomb Guard have closed the distance together with the enemy's infantry, and by the looks of it, at least some cav, and are beginning their fight. Alright, now our Tomb Bark was hurt from the previous battle and is starting to take a fair bit of damage from the enemy range units as well. Pistoliers, crossbows, all trying to focus it down, so we have to be careful as to where we send it. Empire Knights have charged on in and smashed into the rear of one of our units of Tomb Guard, but it looks like they're still holding, if barely. HP is down to about 40% and their leadership is dropping rapidly. On the right side, over on the right flank, the enemy is losing more and more units. The Knights of the Blazing Sun are once more, like the previous battle, engaged with our Sepulchral Stalkers, but we already know that in a one-on-one, these Stalkers carry it over the Knights. And these Stalkers are fast enough so that if the Knights attempt to run, they'll simply chase them down and keep swinging away with those halberds. Lovely. Another unit of Mounted Yeomen destroyed, another unit of Empire Knights is closing the distance, and I guess this one we'll need to actually deal with by sending more Sepulchral Stalkers. Tomb Guard unit, still kicking, if just barely, and ooh, it looks like our Tomb Bark has dropped below 50% of its HP as well. It may not be anywhere near the like of numbers that we saw in the previous battle, but they're still giving us a fight, so again, credit to them. Please leave our Tomb Bark alone, though. Oh, that's not good. It's down to 15% of our HP. We do have spares that have just been recruited nearby, but I'd still prefer not to lose one. And is rank 4 at this point. It's taken a while to level, so I'm just going to attempt to back it off. Will it survive remains to be seen, but we can watch a little bit of action between the Flagellants and the Tomb Guard in the meantime, with a little bit of help apparently from some Pistoliers, which have decided to close the distance in melee because of reasons. How about for the enemy Flagellants here out of curiosity? 50 weapon strength, 50 melee attack. Well, at least it's even. Ooh, and that Tomb Bark has begun crumbling away. We did manage to get the passive, the Restless Dead, up and running out of the Lore of Nehekara casting. But there's only so many of those that we have. I do believe Walkef has defeated an enemy hero and is now trying to work on the enemy Lord, or at least one of them, who has also been pretty much defeated. So good job to Walkef, and you're attacking. Alright, looks like a unit of Pistoliers is still out here, and though the Skeleton Horse Archers aren't going to be very useful in melee, this enemy unit was already pretty much done, so we simply charged them while firing away at them with our bows. And with that, it looks like the battle is ours. Our Tomb Bark just manages to reach the edge of the map and escape with like 700 HP. And then we took some damage. It looks like we managed to get away with all of our units. Well, it was a really nice fight, and you know what? I'm glad we didn't auto-resolve it. That went well. And once again, we're just shy of the second realm of souls by about 40 deaths. What can you do? Just need mages for those summons, I guess. Alright, there we go. Solid little fight, and 2,000 gold, it's not bad. Solid little fight with the minor exception of nearly allowing the tomb bark to get sniped by something, and funnily enough not the war wagons, because we shadowed them with the sepulchral stalkers, which tore them to shreds, but the I guess the crossbows or the huntsmen or the pistoliers, something, I really wanted to focus down that tomb bark, which admittedly is something we should absolutely expect from the AIs. It loves to knock out those sport units, but still. Anyway, we will we'll need to auto-resolve what remains here, although admittedly there also isn't much. And is that another army? Oh, it's probably the remnants of the previous army. I don't think it's going to attack us a third time, is it? We'll see. Grand Protectors and the Marrow Legion and the Guards of Ra all did really well in terms of pure damage. And, oh right, these guys aren't named, but the snakes, at the very least, solid stone snakes with 20,000 damage, significantly beating out most of the others. Lovely. I'd love the money, but just in case we're gonna bind the souls. I don't trust it. I don't trust you, game. Alright, there we go. There's that Lichbone Penitent. Right. That's the same one. Okay, I was like, wait a second. We didn't get a second Lichbone Penitent, did we? But I don't think we did. Enemy killed in battle. Skeletal Chariot for the Necrotect. I really wish that they could use a steed rather than a chariot. I don't know if a chariot is actually a good idea on them. I'll have to think about it. On the one hand, reposition quicker. On the other hand, much more fragile than on foot, though. Kind of iffy. Either way, Scourge of Mankind, well done to King Wakaf, who knocked out like 4 armies belonging to these guys in a single turn effectively. Oh wow, one single unit. Too bad that you screwed our turn over, but oh well. I guess we'll auto-resolve the place. What tier is it out of curiosity? It's tier 4. I was gonna say sack it and then go after these armies, but I think we're better off taking the settlement and thus keeping it at tier 3. Anyway, the Cult of free Necroserpent nest. That's a nice find. Makes sense. The Necroserpents made more Necroserpents. Anyway, as I was starting to say, we have effectively destroyed this faction, all of their armies pretty much at once with King Waka, but we'll have to wait until next episode for more because we are way out of time, and I'm calling it here. Next time, gonna destroy Cult of Mor, advance to Zandri, advance northward to Kugath with Settra after taking out this little minor faction, and continue building up our new armies as well as confederate Khalida. So stay tuned for all that. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, and especially the threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.